Okay, so let's move on to our second chord now. Now that you got that C chord cranking, it's sounding good, we're going to start the creation and the construction of our next chord from the second degree of the major scale. So we're still going to be playing in C. So we did the C chord constructed from the 1, 3, 5. So now we're going to move on to the second note being D. And we're going to create what is called the D minor chord, because the 2 chord of any major tonality will always be a minor chord. So we have D, we're going to skip E, play F, we're going to skip G and play A. So D, F, and A will construct what is called a D minor chord. So the next chord we're going to look at is the D minor chord. And so we are going to use the top 4 strings for that chord. We're going to have an open D. So there it is. The 4th string is going to be open. Then we're going to place our second finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. So we are going to get that. So make sure that you can get both of those notes to sound individually, and then you can play them both together, and there you have it. So now the next note is going to be doubling the D. So we're going to go on the 2nd string, our 3rd finger on the 3rd fret, and it's going to go right there. So again, you want to make sure you're using your fingertips. So you want to play each note individually to make sure that you're getting all those notes to ring. So typically what can happen is you can get it choked out, but you don't want to do that. If that happens, you want to kind of analyze, oh, my 3rd finger is leaning up against that 3rd string. I don't want that to happen. So you adjust it and you play them all individually until you can get them to sound, and then you can play all 3 strings. Our last note is going to be F, which we can catch here on the 1st string, 1st fret, with our 1st finger. It's a little bit of a stretch, so it might take some practice to get that. Again, you want to be nice and relaxed, good posture. You want your thumb behind the neck there. So again, we're going to play D, A, D, and then we have F. Now, what can happen here too is if you don't go right before that fret and you only stretch to the fret, you might get this sound, which is being choked out a bit. So you want to get this over just a little bit so you can get a more fuller, pure sound. So again, and then maybe what could be happening if you don't get the sound is your 3rd finger might be muting the 1st string. So you got this going. So again, you want to analyze what's going on, adjust your fingers. It takes practice, it takes time. Don't get discouraged. If you're not getting the sound right off the bat, that's okay. Play each note individually. Once you can get those to sound, then you can play the whole chord. And there you have the D minor chord. Okay, so now we know 2 different chords, right? We know the C major chord, and we also just learned the D minor chord. So now a very important aspect and more difficult is being able to switch smoothly between one chord and the next. So we've seen that it's challenging enough trying to get the notes to sound. But then you want to be able to, in a smooth way, change to the next chord. So that's going to take some time and some practice. But a good way to begin practicing that is by using what is called arpeggiation, arpeggiating the chords. So when we just strum it all together, that's one. But if we play a rhythm and strum pattern, playing each string separately, that's called arpeggiation, arpeggiating the chord. So we can do something like this, maybe a quarter note for each note, and then change to the next chord. So for instance, if we went C, E, G, C, and then switch to the D minor, D, A, D, F. So we can take it nice and slow. So it would be like 1, 2, get your C chord ready, 3, 4, C, E, G, C. Now change to the D minor. It's going to be a little challenging at first, but then changing back to the C. And then changing to the D minor. So this way you can see if you can get every single note to ring. So again, C. Play along with me. Let's practice. D minor. Now you're going to find that maybe when you're switching, it's going to be, you know, because I've been doing it a long time, I can very easily just kind of place my hands. But as a beginner, you're probably going to find that once you play the chord, trying to change is going to be just a little bit awkward. And then you might have to put one note at a time. But again, don't give up. Keep practicing. Eventually, you'll be able to just place your hands in the right place very smoothly and very easily. So once you get the arpeggiation, you arpeggiate the chord. Keep practicing that over and over. Then you can practice strumming all the notes, maybe using quarter notes. Then switching very smoothly, strumming all the notes. Not easy. So again, arpeggiation. D minor. And now strumming the whole chord. Make sure you're using the fingertips, you're nice and relaxed. Very good.